All right, MC, we are about to talk about feminism and some of the feminist success stories because Illinois lawmakers introduced a bill to decriminalize prostitution. So, man, and I bet you with this bill, though, I think it's more just so women aren't arrested, or I guess you can't just say women, but the workers in that industry are not arrested. But I think it's more so they can still charge the Johns, the tricks.
Um, this is your future, ladies and gentlemen. This is, and I'm going to quote Coach Greg Adams again because he drops a lot of gems. Dating is essentially prostitution now. I need y'all to understand that.
Yeah,
This is only the next phase. We talked about the OnlyFans and the strip club culture. Hip hop certainly helped. Rock and roll certainly helped. Everybody's being sexualized, and it's so crazy now that women who traditionally were not considered attractive have overinflated egos now. Like this is the type of things that open up to the internet. Um, it's already legal in certain parts of Nevada, but this is going to spread nationwide. So this is what you asked for, ladies. This is what you want. You want to make
yeah,
money
this
off of
is
your
start.
body. Um, Good luck with this, man. Like this is going to be crazy. And you know how it's going to be successful because the demand will always be there.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, we're men and we like vagina. Somebody gonna pay for it. Somebody who's lonely or somebody who just they realize that I could pay you to leave. I ain't got to talk to you. It's lazy dating. It's lazy courting. It's like an offspring of that. But here's your future. So good luck. If you participating in that, strap up. AIDS is out there. Herpes is out there. A whole bunch of other stuff you don't
shout
want
out
no
to
smoke
Houston.
with. Man, good
Yeah.
luck, man.
So let's go over this real quick. What we know, the bill which was shaped with input from the wow, they have a sex worker advisory group. Interesting swag. Okay, got it. Um, Seeks to address dangers and barriers faced by individuals. You notice how I say individuals. They're that was on purpose.
Yeah.
Engaged in consensual sex work. Supporters of the bill argue that the criminalization of consensual sex work creates unsafe conditions, you don't say, and limits access to essential services like health care. Lawmakers, wait, they want health care?
They gonna need it.
Yeah. Lawmakers backing the proposal say the legislation, I was fumbling that word, would provide greater protections and resources for those involved in sex work. Prostitution remains illegal in all United States except certain areas, Nevada, like you said. Details about the specific provisions of the bill, including how it would be implemented and regulated, have not been disclosed. The timeline for a vote on the legislation is also unclear. What's next? The bill will go through the legislative process in the Illinois General Assembly, where it's expected to spark a debate. Advocates and lawmakers supporting the proposal will likely continue to emphasize its potential to improve safety and access to services for sex workers. So this is why
FYI, two more states are considering legalizing it as well: New York and Washington.
I was about to say I was about to say New York, but I was going to say Oregon, not Washington. But that close
Close
enough, and
enough. Yeah.
yeah, it'll probably happen in Oregon anyways. But this is wild though. So for the first part, and I chuckled on the healthcare because we have illegal immigrants getting healthcare services, and I'm not caping on that the sex workers, but that's wild that they're advocating for healthcare, and then we have illegals that are just being given healthcare just because they show up here. Like we have a whole system in place that will give them healthcare just because they are here, and we're not talking about like go to the emergency room. Obviously, I think they're talking about like just getting like just I don't know preventive or post maintenance, if you catch my drift there. But also, they have an advisory group for this. Like, this is if you want anything done, you're going to need some type of like lobbyist or advisory group or something. Because if you don't have a group out there advocating your behalf, and apparently there's enough, S workers out there that need some type of advisory group, especially in Illinois. I would even say Illinois would have been my top three for like states that look for something like this. Definitely New York. Oregon. Also, I'll probably throw in California as well too. For all the type of issues that they have out there. But you have like people pushing for this, and they'll probably die in the assembly. Like the article said it has to get there first. But I mean, the mere fact that we have lawmakers advocating for something like this, these lawmakers are not advocating for like changing the family court laws or custody laws or alimony or child support like we discussed earlier. They're advocating to give these special rights to these people that have chosen a life to work in the sex operation. In which, like, if a guy chooses to like just be a bum or whatever, ain't nobody coming to save him. Ain't nobody like, yeah, the guy just wants to just he doesn't want to hurt anybody, quote unquote, but he just wants to do whatever he wants to do. Okay, fine. There's no advocacy group for something like that. There's no one out there saying that this guy needs to be, he needs some, we need to make sure that he has like some type of health care or something. Those guys they just die. They just fade away. They just become homeless. Most homeless people are men anyways. They just fade away. But we have people advocating for sex workers, lawmakers, going out of their way, putting these bills on the books, or trying to put these bills on the book to make sure sex workers are taken care of. This is troubling times, man.
Yeah. I'm gonna raise the ante a little bit and give you a name, and I want y'all to check into this if you don't believe what I'm saying. Dennis Hoff. I'm familiar with Dennis Hoff. I've heard some of his TED Talks. I've heard him speak at Harvard. I've heard him appear on an old radio show that I used to listen to. Dennis Hoff is if you're familiar with the Cat House, he was essentially the pimp. Why am I telling you this? Dennis Hoff died in 2018, but right before he died, he won the election to be not to be elected into the state senate for Nevada,
Wow.
and he was a huge advocate for legalized prostitution. Obviously, that's how he got his money. That's what he's known for. He's a well smoking and intelligent man, but this we're in dangerous territory now. And if you dig deeper and look into sex workers who have been in politics, just in the United States, you might be surprised. They already up there. They already advocating. Uh, They're there. They outside. Trust me.
Yeah.
And again, this is going to happen whether you want it to or not. So I'm talking to the ultra conservatives. I'm talking to the churches. The best thing for y'all to do is to help people have functioning and happy marriages to the point where they don't need this. And I'm going to give you something to help you in that regard. Tr, can you play that clip that I sent you earlier from the legend Carlos Miller? Dennis Hoff was a Republican, by the way.
That's wild.
You want some
Check them
pussy?
out. Now you want some pussy, right?
Yeah. You know I need some pussy.
That shit on my mind, gang.
No, I need some pussy. I don't want this. I need this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need this shit. You see all the fucking work. I'm over here. And then you don't want me to go get no pussy.
Yeah.
So
Then
you
the-
need to make sure I always got some.
Yeah. Yeah. Whether you mad at me or
You
not.
need to ask. You want some
Check them
pussy?
out. Now you want some pussy, right?
Yeah.
Before you let, fuck all that.
Hey,
you,
you want
you
pussy?
want
How
some
much
pussy?
pussy you
Puss
need?
for eat that plate.
How much pussy you need right
Like,
now?
you know what?
Sometimes don't even ask me. Just tell me, look, your food in there. Go on and eat and get you a bath and get you some of this pussy so we can go to bed.
Yeah.
Makes
Let me
sense.
stop you right there.
It makes sense. Yeah.
Chicken nuggets. Chicken nuggets and pussy. Nigga get act like a little kid.
Hey,
Chicken
you can cut it off. TR.
I know what to do with all
I
that.
got the point off. Look,
All right,
Carlo,
SB.
shout
I
out
know
to
you're
Carlos Miller. Shout out to
serious.
85 South, man. You get the point, though. Ladies, stop pretending like you don't know what kind of man you got. Stop being lazy in your monogamous dating, and everybody show some accountability to each other. You know what kind of stuff your dude is into. You know how often he wants it. Why don't y'all deal with that right there and stop shaming him for being horny and deal with this right here? And see, we just talking about men in the space of prostitution. If you don't think the women is using this stuff too, y'all crazy. Because a lot of these women, I'm telling you, are secretly bisexual. They're not telling y'all. Way more than you think.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Okay, so MC, I can't believe you. Okay, for the folks out there, we try to come up with topics, and we take topics from from the audience and comments and whatnot, and whatever is trending. So at times, like sometimes we don't know what we're gonna be talking about, but man. Come on, MC. I can't believe you
Hey,
played that clip after we were having a serious conversation
I'm
about
here to tell the truth.
prostitution.
I'm here to, and I'm telling you, if you don't want your man running off and hiring some of these, do your job and make sure you get him what he needs.
You know what's funny? I'm we're gonna come back to that though, but I posted this clip on the Black Phoenix podcast IG page, actually on all the socials. And so folks definitely take a look at that. But this kind of leads into what I think what MC was trying to do, but I'm gonna add a different viewpoint on it. Here, let me add it. Whoops.
This is Aria. So this is our flagship humanoid AI-powered robot. She's highly realistic. She has her own social media, so she might be competing with you one day.
Can you replace humans for jobs?
I'm excited to be here at CES
Darling,
2020.
I'm more about enhancing human experiences rather than taking jobs. Think of me as your entertaining plus one.
She's not meant to replace humans. Just be your.
Man. You know what's funny? Even though because I get your point about with the Carlos clip as well too, but also if you tie in the way technology is trying to move towards, because this was at CES, so the blah blah electronic whatever. So this is at CES, and so we have people trying to create these robots, these AI robots, and these robots are ugly. But I'm guessing at some point they'll have them maybe a little more realistic. But you can obviously tell these are like robots or whatever. And I don't know why they made their like giant foreheads and made them alien-esque. Like I don't know if you guys know what women look like, but that ain't it. But anyways, but you have technology on one end, and then also you have lawmakers trying to legalize prostitution. At this point, it's going to be and you have marriage laws not really changing. I was thinking that men were going to lose out on stuff like this though, but I don't think men. I mean, obviously, some men might go the robot route, some men might go the prostitution route, but a lot of men are not going to go the marriage route, and that's not good for women. For men, I mean, most men don't end up getting married anyways. Most women don't end up getting married, but for a lot of women, like for women that want to have kids, you won't be. I mean, I know you can always go, get a kid out of a tube or whatever, but for the women out there, I mean, this actually might be a little more concerning than you lead on, because the more you try to legalize, prostitution, and then OnlyFans becomes kind of a household name, and you have the rise of the robots, sex bots or whatever. I don't think that's good for like the good women out there, honestly. I think it's good for society, but for the women that actually want to be in relationships, this is kind of what you have to compete against. You have lawmakers that are trying to make it, okay to be a sex worker, and you have people, technology. I think this is kind of a bad thing for women in general, honestly.
I just pulled up from the U.S. Census Bureau. Marriage rates are declining for every race, but for the black race, it's expected to be 15% in the next 20 years.
You don't say.
15%. I posted 2 articles here to kind of talk about some of the stuff we just discussed too. The first one is I wanted the Democrats ain't off the hook either. There is a Democrat who's probably going to be up next, will be the first sex worker to probably be in Congress for Pennsylvania. So it's
whoa,
gonna
whoa.
get into.
Hold on, MC. We technically had a sugar baby almost become president. So
Yeah, but they're not ready for that
so
conversation.
I didn't even factor that in there. So it's already been infiltrated.
Yeah. Ultimately, what we're trying to say is, look, I know that there's power with a woman, right? She can influence and she can manipulate, positive or negative. She's got both. Now we're talking about prostitution. You were talking about robots too. I posted another article from the Daily Mail. There's a robot sex brothel.
Hold on,
Now
let me pull up
uh,
your first article
okay,
about
yeah,
the.
that's the first one, and you're going to hear that name a lot because she's been very active, and she's a health worker now, but she's a former stripper that danced her way through college.
Hey, hold on. Let me see. I'm gonna check something real quick.
Oh, you want to see what she looked like?
Yeah, over under. She's good looking.
Her name is Alexandra Hunt. I mean, she was a stripper. That's a coin toss.
I mean, yeah. I'm gonna say. Let's see.
I know what she looks like, so I'm not going to answer the
I
question, but I
about
want
to
you to
pull it
look
up.
her up.
I was about to pull her up. Oh, you know
Oh,
what?
I already know what she looks like.
Oh, you already okay. My bad. My bad. I
Yeah.
was gonna say. Hold on. Let me show the audience. That's not what I was expecting. I was expecting someone a little bit. I was expecting someone that was a man. Honestly, though, because they tend to be the bigger advocates for stuff like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was not expecting her to be the face. But you know what? That's not even good either because she's kind of like a normal looking Kaylee, you know? Like she's not
Yeah.
she's not over the top. And like I said, I was expecting kind of a man kind of push something like this, a man woman or whatever, to kind of have that conversation though, because they tend to like always want to like champion for stuff like this. But with this chick, I mean, just being a normal looking Kaylee, yeah, that's wild. I don't know how far she's gonna go. I mean, that'll be interesting. But honestly, I can say a lot of men like, yeah, I can get behind her. I mean, you can. Ain't gonna be about her policies, but I mean, just imagine if somebody like this. I mean, this is why I always have a problem. Real quick, I know you got another article. This is why I have a problem when people come into lawmakers. They have like some type of uh, diversity tag on them. So whether they're black, trans, a woman, um, from a different country or Jewish or something. Um, when they have that tag, that becomes their identity, and then that's the only people they serve. And we know that's not the case though, because they have to serve every American. And for folks that are thinking like this is like always a good idea to have that type of diversity, to an extent, like maybe to like just to, if you want to bring awareness or something, like even then I'm not even okay with that. But if you just want to bring awareness, but no, they go above and beyond. Actually, we're seeing it play out with California, where the three of the top officials when it comes to the fire department are all trans women or lesbians. I think they are. Actually, I think they're all lesbians. And their main focus is to make sure we have more women in the fire department. And the fire department makes 5% of the entire in California. There's only 5% women that are actually on the that work for the fire department. But they want to make that a focus instead of like saving lives. And there's also a commercial there that infomercial that they put out there that was not helpful to men. But I mean, that becomes their focus. And so we have this lawmaker who, surprise, surprise, she wants to make sex work or at least do something that allows sex work to be less taboo, as well as have some advocacy programs surrounded around it though too. So this is not good for society though. But I mean, yeah, she's good looking Kaylee though. I ain't gonna cap about that.
Open up that Instagram link I just sent you. That'll give you a better. And read the very first comment on that picture, by the way.
Oh my god, you
But
should have led
why
with this.
while you're doing that, I want to call something out real quick because I can already see somebody that I go to church with asking me, why did you talk about this? And it's simple. We spend so much time ingrained in what we're doing that we don't study the people that are against us and what they're trying to do to us.
That's a good point.
So you don't study your enemy, so you are not prepared for any kind of attacks. I study people who are against marriage. I study people who are against my values and morals because I want to know how they think and how they plan on attacking me. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why a lot of churches are dying and not prepared for the attacks that are on the way. Now, if you want to get a quick joke off, the very first comment on this picture, somebody went at her and said some
Wow.
racist stuff. But I want
Oof.
to I want to say you saw it.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
folks,
wild.
folks, folks are cold with it, man. The last article that I posted right above that, we talked about the sex dolls, and so there's robot brothels now, and they're starting over in the UK. There was talk of one coming to Houston, so it's not just the traditional prostitution that we're talking about. Now you got this new wave coming in where you don't even have to ask for consent because consent is pre-programmed. This is all going to impact the male female dynamic in a very negative way. We already don't know how to treat each other as is, and I'm
Wow.
telling you, this is only going to make it worse.
Yeah, this was actually a recent article too. So, it reminds me of that TV show Westworld. We're definitely, well, not the rise of the robots, but we're definitely moving towards something a little bit more that's going to be okay with stuff like this. And you got the rise of VR, I guess it's called AR. But you got a lot of stuff going on here. A lot of stuff that's not impactful towards people getting married. And so the marriage rate is already on decline for all races, or all groups of people. And then also the birth rate is on decline. It's not as terrible as, I forget if it was Japan or North Korea or South Korea, but one of those Asian countries. But we're already seeing a decline in the birth rate in America, which that actually may be reversing because we did let almost like, not we, but our current president for at least another week let in about 20 million folks. And so dealing with something like that, I don't know, man. It's troubling times though, because it's not helpful for men in general. I think men may partake in some of the activities, but ultimately though, it's not good for society when men have like walked away from a good portion of men have walked away from women. And for the men that think they're going to clean up, no, you're not going to be able to clean up on some of these other women that have, let's say like half the men walk away, and then he just leaves only a small other half of the men thinking that, well, I'll just take care of the women that want to be in those relationships. They could do that now. Those women don't want you. They want a certain type of guy. And by the time they get to that guy, by the time they get to you, they have already been, they've already had all their fun. They've done all the fun stuff. They've done all the, all the acrobatics in the bedroom. And you are going to get like, hey, I'm not going to do any of that stuff. And I'm not going to do anything that you require of a wife. I have my own rights, and I don't have to do things that, that need to be, you be deemed wife duties. I will give you a kid and that'll be it. Or I don't have to give you a kid at all. Like, man, I think both genders are in for some troubling times though. But for some, I don't have an answer for the women, because I don't know what women are going to do. Like, women have to like hold each other. First of all, women got to start holding themselves accountable and not being victims. And so until they're de-incentivized and then shamed for those type of things, it'll never change. Plus, you have the simp army that are going to protect them as well too. So I don't know what you can do with that. But for the men, the best advice I could probably say, just check out CGA. I think CGA will give you kind of the blueprint of what your options are, what you can do, and what you need to start looking at. Because men, you got to start changing your mindsets. You got to wake up and you got to start changing your mindset. And this is only for the men that are still looking for the marriages or the relationships. If you're happily married and whatever, hey, stay there. You don't need a tune up or anything. For the men that are not married, which I know there's quite a few of you that are not married, at least per the stats, you check out CGA. I think you'll be given some good advice there, and then also check out some other content creators such as Anton Daniels, because there's a lot of folks in there that will kind of give you some good advice and also put you in a space where you can talk to other individuals, because there aren't too many content creators that have like kind of their own tribe out there, and that's something that we're working towards as well too. Create our own type of tribe so we can have some other types of conversations though. But for until then, check out those two top content creators. I'm sure there's some other ones out there, but those two come to mind for me.
Couple more things for me. Number one, I just dropped another article because at the Black Phoenix podcast, we don't just talk out of our rear ends. We like to substantiate what we say. The country you were talking about is Japan, and it's gotten so bad between men and women over there that they are begging people to get married and have kids. And it does affect your country. It affects a lot of things in your country.
Yeah.
And that trend is spreading not just throughout the East, but it's coming west as well. That's number one.
Yeah, and
Number
Japan's probably
two,
the whatever they figured out. They're probably just the level one before this stuff gets out of control.
yeah. I wish I could remember who said this quote, but I'm gonna just drop it here because I heard it on another podcast, and I don't even remember the podcast honestly. But there was a doctor. I think he was. God, he worked at one of the schools in California, and he said that there's three things that happen to every great society before it falls. The first one is the society turns its back on God. The second one is the sexual liberation of women. And then the third one is the men collectively decide that the women are no longer worth fighting for.
Oh,
When
you
those
know
three
what?
things happen,
Yeah.
the societies tend to fall. And he used every great empire that's ever existed as an example. And these are things that we need to be wary of. We need to stop with this gender war stuff and realize that we got to work some of this stuff out.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I got one more thing to share before we wrap things up, though. But you're absolutely right. Once men obviously will not do what's obvious. Will not. I don't want to say it's easy to do, but the one thing that they can do is, petition their lawmakers to change these laws. I don't know why men won't do it. And kind of reason I think they won't do it because they think it won't happen to them. It's going to happen to somebody someone like either in your family or one of your friends. It's going to happen. We all know someone that's been kind of put through the ringer when it comes to like either child support, alimony, false, false accusations, the whole Me Too. Like, we know someone that's like been impacted by something like that, and we know multiple men. We don't know multiple women that have been impacted. We know multiple men that have been impacted for things like this. And I know, when you look at like things that have happened to women, I know that stuff happens, but we can't just assume, or we can't just overlook it like men don't are negatively impacted financially, or at least when it comes to freedom. Like, that stuff, like, there's a lot of things against you. So yeah, you're right. Once men collectively as a whole start to say, hey, these women are not worth fighting for. These women are going to keep, mingling with the terrible men. They expect us to take care of them and clean them up. No, it's not there yet though. And maybe it started with Kevin Samuels, but the more content creators continue to have the voice that they have, and they, put this information out there, because most men don't understand that this stuff is happening. But the more that these content creators put this information out there, because women are putting information out there and they're just reporting it, it becomes, widely known. And so, yeah, we definitely can get there real quick. And let me share this. Last article if you want to say anything there, MC.
No, I agree with all of that, man. And again, the bottom line is we have work to do. Everybody has a purpose. Everybody is important, just not important in the same way. There's roles that we all got to fulfill.
Yeah. So this last article is this woman who slept with 1,000 men in 20 hours. And I don't have time to do the math on that, but I know it was a very, very short time. But look at this chick. I mean, I don't want to go to her IG because I don't know what her IG looks like. I mean, who knows what's going to be on her IG page. But, Brad Pitt, let me get you off there. So this is where things are coming at. This is what the women, you women, that even if you are trying to look for a good guy, this is what you have to compete with. The lawmakers, these OF model, or I'm being generous when I say OF models, but the OnlyFans chicks, the IG chicks, this is what you'll have to compete with. And you get mad at men when men are like, well, saying XYZ about your body. This is why. Because these are types of women that are ruining it for the good women. And you're not holding any of those women accountable, because this is what women's empowerment looks like. This is what feminism fought hard for. So this chick, I don't even give her, I know you guys are gonna look her up, but this chick could sleep with 1,000 men in 20 hours. That we can put strippers in Congress, or in at your state level. This is what feminism fought for. These are feminine success stories. And matter of fact, we might as well start adding a segment called feminist success stories, though, because it's all out there. You're going to keep giving us content and discussing it.
Yep, I agree 100%. But one thing about me, whichever way the world is moving, I can guarantee you I'm moving the opposite way. I'm not jumping on any of these trends. Y'all can have it all.
All right. Well, that wraps up this episode. Thanks for tuning in, and subscribe and like it.
Peace.